The evening at Bellini's restaurant started like any other. The smell of fresh garlic bread and pasta sauce filled the air. Soft lights sparkled on wine glasses as guests chatted and laughed. In the corner sat a beautiful grand piano, its polished surface gleaming under the chandeliers. Among the busy servers moving between tables was Lali. For 3 years, she had worked at this fancy Italian place in the heart of the city. Guests loved her. She never mixed up orders, always remembered if someone wanted extra cheese or no onions, and had a way of making people feel special. Even when customers got grumpy or demanding, Lily kept her cool and her smile never faded. "Table 12 needs more bread," called out the head waiter. "Got it," Lily replied, balancing 3 plates of steaming lasagna on her arm with the skill that comes only from years of practice. What nobody at the restaurant knew was that Lily carried a secret. Every time she walked past that silent piano in the corner, her fingers would tingle. She'd feel a pull toward it, like an old friend calling her name. Sometimes, when the restaurant was nearly empty and she was folding napkins for the next day, she'd stare at the instrument and remember another life. Before she was Lily the reliable waitress, she had been Lily the piano prodigy. Her old piano teacher used to say, "Some people learn to play piano, but you, child, you were born to play." By 16, she had performed in concerts and won competitions. People said she had a bright future ahead. Then life happened. Her mom got sick, really sick. The medical bills piled up. Their small family savings disappeared quickly. The fancy music school that had offered her a spot couldn't provide enough financial help. Dreams of concert halls faded as reality took over. "You can always go back to music later," her mom had said from her hospital bed. "Family comes first." So Lily put away her sheet music and picked up a server's notepad instead. She found the job at Bellini's because it paid better than most restaurants, plus the tips were good. Every dollar she earned went toward her mom's treatment and their small apartment. That was 6 years ago. Her mom was doing better now, but those years away from the piano had left Lily wondering if her talent had dried up from lack of use. She'd become somebody different, still kind and hardworking, but with a sadness that showed in her eyes when she thought nobody was looking. The restaurant owner had hired a pianist who played 3 nights a week, an older gentleman who stuck to easy listening tunes and took frequent breaks. During those breaks, Lily sometimes found herself walking past the piano, fighting the urge to touch the keys to see if they still recognized her fingers. Something about that piano catches your eye, huh? One of the cooks had noticed her lingering glances. "Oh, I just think it adds class to the place," she replied with a small laugh, quickly changing the subject. Tonight, the usual pianist hadn't shown up yet. The manager kept checking his watch and glancing at the door with growing concern. Important guests were expected. A birthday party for someone connected to the music industry. The empty piano bench seemed to grow more noticeable as the minutes ticked by. Lily felt a strange flutter in her chest. The piano sat there like a challenge, a reminder of who she used to be. Her hands, now skilled at carrying trays and pouring wine without spilling a drop, remembered other movements, the dance across black and white keys, the feeling of creating something beautiful out of thin air. The restaurant was filling up. Soon it would be too noisy for anyone to hear themselves think. And still, the piano waited silently in the corner, like it knew something no one else did. Little did anyone know that this ordinary Friday night would change everything for Lily, for Bellini's, and for everyone lucky enough to be there when it happened. The clock struck 6 and still no sign of the piano player. Mr. Chen, the restaurant manager, was now pacing back and forth near the entrance, his phone pressed to his ear. Lily noticed how he kept running his hand through his hair, never a good sign. "What's going on?" she asked Tina, another waitress who was arranging fresh flowers on table 15. "The piano guy called in sick," Tina whispered. "And tonight of all nights. We've got that big party coming in at 7, some hotshot music people celebrating something or other. Mr. Chen is freaking out." Lily felt a strange buzz of energy as she glanced at the piano. For a brief moment, she allowed herself to imagine sitting there, fingers dancing across the keys like they used to. "I've called everyone," Mr. Chen was saying loudly into his phone. "Nobody's available on such short notice. What am I supposed to do? This winter's guy is bringing important people. They specifically asked about live music when they booked." Lily carried a tray of clean glasses to the bar, trying not to eavesdrop but finding it impossible not to. The name Winters had caught her attention. Could it be Daniel Winters, the famous record producer? She had read about him in music magazines years ago. "The chef needs you in the kitchen," the bartender told her, breaking her thoughts. In the kitchen, the usual chaos of a Friday night was building. Pots clanging, orders being called out, the sizzle of fresh food hitting hot pans. Chef Roberto was inspecting a plate, his face serious as always. "Lily, I need you to run to the storeroom. We're almost out of the good olive oil, and I refuse to use the cheap stuff for the special tonight." As she made her way to the back of the restaurant, Lily passed Mr. Chen again. He had now moved to sitting at the empty bar, head in his hands. "No piano player tonight?" she asked, even though she knew the answer. "Worse than that," he groaned. "Tom has the flu. Says he can barely get out of bed. And tonight of all nights, Daniel Winters is coming with a group of music industry people. It's his wife's birthday. They reserved our best table weeks ago." Lily's heart skipped. So it was the Daniel Winters. "Can't you just play recorded music?" she suggested, though the idea felt wrong even as she said it. "Not the same," Mr. Chen sighed. "They were expecting live piano. It's what we're known for on weekend nights. I've called 6 different musicians. Everyone's booked. At this point, I take anyone who can play Happy Birthday without making a mess of it." Lily stood frozen. Her mind raced back to her last recital 6 years ago. She had played Chopin's Nocturne in E-flat major. The audience had given her a standing ovation. Her teacher had hugged her afterward, whispering, "You have a gift, Lily. Don't ever let it go." But she had let it go, hadn't she? "I should get that olive oil," she mumbled, continuing to the storeroom. In the dimly lit back area, surrounded by shelves of supplies, Lily found her hands shaking as she reached for the bottle. What if she offered to play? The thought terrified her. 6 years was a long time. Her skills would be rusty at best, completely gone at worst. She might embarrass herself in front of everyone, staff, customers, and a famous music producer. But another voice in her head whispered back, "What if you've still got it?" She walked back slowly, the bottle of olive oil clutched in her hands. Mr. Chen was now on the phone again, his voice tense. "Yes, I understand this is important to you, Mr. Winters. We're doing everything we can." Lily handed the oil to Chef Roberto and then did something that surprised even herself. She walked straight up to Mr. Chen as he ended his call. "I can play," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Mr. Chen looked at her like she had grown a second head. "You what?" "The piano," Lily said, louder this time. "I can play it. I used to. I mean, I was trained. For many years." The manager's expression shifted from confusion to desperate hope. "Are you serious right now? You're not just saying this?" Lily nodded, heart hammering in her chest. "I haven't played in years, but how good were you? Can you play real music or just basic stuff?" "I was going to study it professionally before things changed." Mr. Chen looked at his watch, then at the piano, then back at Lily. "Well," he said finally, "I guess we have nothing to lose. Can you play something right now? Just so I can hear." Lily slowly walked toward the piano, aware that several staff members had stopped to watch. Her mouth felt dry. What was she thinking? She hadn't touched a piano in years. "You don't have to do a whole concert," Mr. Chen said, following behind her. "Just play something simple so I know you can handle it tonight." The dining room wasn't full yet, but there were already about a dozen customers enjoying their appetizers. Lily felt their curious glances as she approached the piano. Tina gave her a puzzled look from across the room. Standing beside the piano, Lily gently ran her fingers along its smooth edge. It was a beautiful instrument, much nicer than the old upright she had practiced on as a child. She carefully lifted the cover and revealed the keys, perfect white and black, waiting silently. "Go ahead," Mr. Chen urged, checking his watch. "The Winters party will be here in 45 minutes." Lily sat down on the bench and adjusted it tight. The familiar position brought back a flood of memories, her first recital at age 7, the countless hours of practice, her mother's proud smile when she mastered a difficult piece. She placed her hands on the keys, surprised by how right it felt. Like coming home after a long journey. "What should I play?" she asked, mostly to herself. "Anything," Mr. Chen replied. "Just show me what you can do." Lily closed her eyes for a moment. Then, almost without thinking, her fingers began to move. The opening notes of Debussy's Clair de Lune flowed from the piano, softly at first, hesitant, like a stream finding its path after winter. For the first few measures, her playing was stiff, uncertain. A wrong note here, a slight stumble there. 6 years of silence couldn't be erased in a moment. But then something shifted. Her muscle memory awakened. Her hands remembered what her mind had forgotten. The music grew stronger, more confident. The gentle melody floated through the restaurant, wrapping around tables and chairs, slipping between conversations. One by one, those conversations paused. A waiter stopped mid-step, water pitcher in hand. A couple reaching for their wine glasses froze, listening. In the kitchen doorway, Chef Roberto appeared, wooden spoon still in hand, his eyes wide with surprise. Lily didn't notice any of this. She was lost in the music, reunited with a part of herself she had locked away. Her fingers danced across the keys with growing assurance, bringing out the delicate emotions of the piece, its longing, its beauty, its sense of moonlight on water. When she played the final chord and the sound faded away, Lily became aware of the silence in the restaurant. She opened her eyes to find everyone staring at her. Then, from a table near the window, someone began to clap. Others joined in. Chef Roberto was nodding, a wry smile on his usually serious face. That was, Mr. Chen seemed at a loss for words. "I had no idea. Why didn't you ever say anything?" Lily shrugged, feeling her cheeks grow warm. "It never came up." "Never came up?" he repeated in disbelief. "Lily, that was professional level playing. And you're telling me you haven't touched a piano in years?" 6 years, she confirmed quietly. Mr. Chen shook his head in amazement. "Well, the job is yours for tonight if you want it. Can you play for a few hours? Popular stuff, classical, whatever you know." The question hung in the air. Part of Lily wanted to run away, to return to the safety of taking orders and carrying plates. It was what she knew now. What if she couldn't keep this up? What if the magic of this moment faded when she tried to play again? But a stronger part of her, a part that had been silent too long, was singing now. She had forgotten how a live play made her feel. "I can do it," she said, surprised by the confidence in her voice. Mr. Chen squeezed her shoulder gratefully. "Thank you. Take a short break, have some water. I'll get someone to cover your tables." He hurried off, already shouting instructions to rearrange the serving assignments. Tina appeared at Lily's side, her expression a mix of shock and admiration. "Where did that come from? That was beautiful." "Long story," Lily replied with a small smile. "Well, you better get ready," Tina said, nodding toward the entrance. "The host just seated a group of fancy-looking people. I think that's the Winter's party arriving early." Lily's stomach tightened as she saw them, 5 well-dressed people being led to the best table in the house. At the center was a tall man with silver hair who could only be Daniel Winters himself. This was really happening. After 6 years of silence, she was about to play for one of the most influential people in the music world. Lily took a deep breath and turned back to the piano. The Winters party was getting settled at their table, not yet paying attention to her. She had maybe a minute or two before they would notice the music. What should she play? Something impressive but not too showy. Something that would create the right mood for a special birthday dinner. Her fingers found the keys and began a soft, jazzy version of "Fly Me to the Moon." She kept it gentle at first, letting the music blend with the restaurant's hum of conversation. As she played, she felt herself relaxing. This wasn't so different from riding a bicycle. Her hands remembered what to do even after all this time. By the time she finished that song and smoothly transitioned into "What a Wonderful World," several people at nearby tables were nodding along. An older couple exchanged smiles, clearly enjoying the soundtrack to their meal. Lily glanced toward the Winters table. Daniel Winters was engaged in conversation, but the woman beside him, presumably his wife, had turned slightly in her chair, listening. For the next hour, Lily played continuously, moving between jazz standards, gentle classical pieces, and even some movie themes that everyone seemed to recognize. Each song came more easily than the last, as if she was reawakening a sleeping part of herself with every note. During a brief pause between songs, she heard a soft voice beside her. "Excuse me." Lily looked up to see a woman standing next to the piano, Mrs. Winters in an elegant blue dress. "Yes?" Lily replied, suddenly nervous again. "Your playing is lovely," the woman said. "It's my birthday today, and your music is making it special. I was wondering." She glanced back at her table. "My husband mentioned they don't usually have someone playing piano on Fridays. Are you new here?" Lily felt her cheeks warm. "Actually, I'm a waitress. The regular pianist couldn't make it tonight." Mrs. Winter's eyebrows rose in surprise. "A waitress? With that kind of talent? That's remarkable." "Thank you," Lily said, not knowing what else to add. "Do you take requests?" Mrs. Winters asked. "I can try," Lily nodded. "Do you know anything by Chopin? The Nocturnes, perhaps?" Lily's heart leaped. Chopin's Nocturnes had been her specialty, the pieces she had performed most often in competitions. "I do," she said, a genuine smile spreading across her face. "Which one would you like?" "The E-flat major. It's always been my favorite." It had been Lily's favorite too, the very piece she had played at her last recital. "Happy birthday," Lily said softly as Mrs. Winters returned to her table. She closed her eyes for a moment, finding that quiet place inside where the music lived. Then she began to play. The nocturne was more challenging than anything else she had attempted that evening. It required delicacy, control, and deep emotion. But as she played the opening notes, something magical happened. Everything around her faded away, the restaurant, the customers, even her own doubts. There was only the music flowing through her like water. She played with her whole heart, letting the beautiful melody sow and whisper in turns. This piece had always felt like telling a story without words, and tonight her story was one of rediscovery and hope. When the final notes faded away, Lily opened her eyes to find the restaurant completely silent. Even the kitchen staff had paused to listen, standing in the doorway. Several customers had tears in their eyes. And Daniel Winters was now fully turned in his chair, watching her with an intensity that made her nervous. The silence held for a moment longer, and then the room erupted in applause. It wasn't polite restaurant applause. It was the kind of response you'd hear in a concert hall after a moving performance. Mr. Chen appeared at her side, his eyes wide. "Lily, I don't know what to say. People are ordering extra desserts just to stay longer and listen to you play." Indeed, the bar area had filled up with people who seemed in no hurry to leave. Some had even come in from the street, drawn by the music drifting through the open windows. "Take a short break," Mr. Chen said, pressing a glass of water into her hand. "But not too long. I've never seen the place like this on a Friday night." As Lily sipped her water, trying to process what was happening, she noticed Daniel Winters deep in conversation with his wife. They both kept glancing her way. What was going on? Was this really happening? Just hours ago, she had been taking orders and serving pasta. Now she was the center of attention, her music touching people in a way she had almost forgotten was possible. And whatever Daniel Winters was thinking as he watched her from across the room, it seemed important, very important. After a short break, Lily returned to the piano. The restaurant was now packed, with every table filled and people standing at the bar. Mr. Chen looked happier than she'd ever seen him, bustling around and telling anyone who would listen, "She works here." Can you believe it? Lily played for another hour, losing herself in the music. It felt like reuniting with an old friend, a bit awkward at first, but soon comfortable and familiar. Her fingers grew more confident with each piece. When she finished a lively rendition of Heart and Soul, she noticed someone standing by the piano. It was Daniel Winters. Up close, he looked less intimidating, a man in his 50s with kind eyes and a thoughtful expression. "Don't stop on my account," he said with a warm smile. "I'm just stretching my legs." But instead of walking away, he leaned against the piano, watching her hands. Lily felt a flutter of nervousness but began playing again, choosing a gentle Beatles melody that she'd always loved. "How long have you been working here?" he asked during a natural pause in the music. "About 3 years," she replied, continuing to play softly. "And how long have you been playing piano?" "Since I was 6, but I stopped about 6 years ago." His eyebrows rose. "Stopped? With that level of skill? May I ask why?" Lily kept her eyes on the keys, The familiar story still difficult to tell. My mom got sick. Cancer. The medical bills. Well, music school became impossible. I needed steady work. Daniel nodded, his face sullen. Life has a way of interrupting our plans. Is your mother? She's better now, Lily said quickly. In remission for 2 years. But by then, I was working full-time. The piano seemed like a distant dream. Until tonight, he observed. Until tonight, she agreed with a small smile. Daniel was quiet for a moment, just listening as she played. Then he asked, "Where were you studying? Before, I mean." "Westbrook Conservatory. I had a partial scholarship." "Impressive. Their piano program is excellent." He seemed to be thinking deeply about something. "Would you play something else for me? Something challenging? Your choice." Lily's hands hesitated for just a moment. She thought about all the pieces she had once mastered, the hours of practice, the way music had once been the center of her world. One piece came to mind, Rachmaninoff's Prelude in G minor. It had always been a showstopper, demanding both technical skill and emotional depth. "It's been a long time since I played this," she warned him. "I'm in no rush," he replied simply. Lily took a deep breath and began. The powerful opening chords seemed to shake the very air. This wasn't background music for dinner. This was music that demanded attention. She felt rusty on some of the more difficult passages, her fingers not quite as nimble as they once were, but the heart of the piece was still there. As she played the final thundering chords, she realized the entire restaurant had gone silent again. Even the kitchen staff had stopped to listen. When she finished, the applause was immediate and enthusiastic. Daniel Winters wasn't clapping. He was watching her with an intensity that made her both nervous and curious. "You're extraordinary," he said finally. "Do you know that? To play like that after 6 years away from the piano, it's not just talent, it's something more." Lily didn't know how to respond. Part of her wanted to dismiss his words, to say she was just a waitress who used to play. But another part, the part that had come alive tonight, knew he was right. Music had always been more than just something she did. It was who she was. "I have a studio," Daniel said carefully. "Nothing fancy, but professional quality. I work with musicians, help them develop their craft, record their work. I'd like you to come by sometime. Play for me without the distraction of a restaurant around you." Lily felt her heart race. "I don't understand. Why would you?" "Because in 30 years in this business, I've learned to recognize something special when I hear it." He pulled a business card from his pocket and placed it on the piano. "No pressure. Think about it. Call me if you're interested." As he walked back to his table, Lily stared at the small white card. Daniel Winters, Winterlight Studios. A phone number, an email address. Was this really happening? After all these years of putting her dreams aside, was an actual door opening. Tina appeared at her side, eyes wide. "Was that? Did he just? What did he say to you?" Lily picked up the card, feeling its weight between her fingers. "He wants me to play for him. At his studio." "Oh my God," Tina squealed, grabbing Lily's arm. "Do you know who he is? He's worked with some of the biggest names in classical and jazz. This is huge." It was huge. It was terrifying. It was everything she had once dreamed of and then forced herself to forget. The rest of the evening passed in a blur. Lily continued playing until nearly midnight, when the last customers finally left. Her fingers were sore, but in a good way, like muscles that hadn't been used in years but remembered their purpose. Throughout the night, people had approached the piano to compliment her, sometimes slipping tips into the small glass bowl Mr. Chen had placed there after seeing what was happening. As she helped clean up afterward, the other staff treated her differently. Not in a bad way, but with a new kind of respect and curiosity. "So you've been hiding this incredible talent all this time?" asked Pete, one of the bartenders, as he counted his tips. "Man, that's like finding out Clark Kent works with you." "It wasn't a secret exactly," Lily explained, wiping down a table. "It just wasn't something I talked about anymore." Mr. Chen approached with an envelope in his hand. "Lily, I don't even know what to say. Tonight was our best Friday in 3 years." He handed her the envelope. "This is what we would have paid Tom plus extra. You saved us tonight." Lily tried to refuse, but Mr. Chen insisted. "And I want to talk to you tomorrow about a permanent arrangement, if you're interested." By the time she got home to her small apartment, it was past 1 in the morning. She kicked off her shoes and collapsed onto her sofa, still trying to process everything that had happened. The business card from Daniel Winters lay on her coffee table where she had carefully placed it. Should she call him? What would that mean? After 6 years of building a different life, was she ready to step back into music? Too tired to think about it anymore, she fell asleep right there on the couch, still in her work clothes. The next morning, Lily woke to her phone buzzing. Bleary-eyed, she answered without checking who it was. "Hello. Lily, it's Mr. Chen. I'm sorry to call so early on your day off, but something's happening here." Lily sat up, suddenly alert. "What's wrong?" "Nothing's wrong. It's just, there are people here asking about you. A reporter from the local news. And our phone's been ringing all morning with reservation requests. Someone posted videos of you playing last night on social media, and they've gone, what do they call it? Viral." Lily's mouth fell open. "What?" "I need you to come in if you can. We should talk about what this means for the restaurant, and for you." An hour later, showered and changed, Lily walked toward Bellini's with butterflies in her stomach. Outside the restaurant, a small crowd had gathered. Some people were peering through the windows. A woman with a professional camera spotted her approaching. "Excuse me, are you Lily? The waitress who played piano last night?" Before she could answer, more people turned toward her. Someone held up a phone recording. Lily ducked her head and hurried inside, where Mr. Chen immediately pulled her into his office. "This is crazy," he said, showing her his tablet. On the screen was a video titled "Waitress Stuns Restaurant with Incredible Piano Skills." It had over 50,000 views already. Someone from Table 9 recorded your Rachmaninoff piece and posted it online. Then others shared their videos too. Lily watched in disbelief as a shaky phone recording showed her playing, completely absorbed in the music. The comments below were overwhelmingly positive. "Who is she? Someone sign her now." "This gave me chills. Raw talent. From serving plates to serving BATS." Mr. Chen looked at her with newfound respect. "Lily, I think things are about to change for you. And for the restaurant." He slid a piece of paper across the desk. "Here's what I'm thinking. You play piano here 3 nights a week. We adjust your schedule so you're not working as a waitress those days. We'll pay you properly as a musician. More people will come to hear you, which means more business for us. It's a win-win." Lily stared at the proposal, her mind racing. Just 2 days ago, she had been a waitress with a hidden past. Now she was being offered a position as the restaurant's pianist. "I don't know what to say," she admitted. "Say yes," Mr. Chen urged. "Unless," he hesitated. "Daniel Winters talked to me before he left last night. He said he gave you his card. If you're going to pursue something with him, I understand." Lily reached into her pocket, where she had placed the business card that morning. She had spent hours thinking about it before falling asleep. Could she really step back into that world? Did she want to? Her phone buzzed again. A text from her mom. "Honey, is this you? Someone shared this video and I think it's you playing. Call me." Attached was the same viral video Mr. Chen had shown her, her mother. The one she had given up her dreams for. The one who had always believed in her talent, even when Lily herself had tried to forget it. With trembling fingers, Lily dialed the number on Daniel Winter's card. It rang 3 times before a woman's voice answered. "Winterlight Studios, how can I help you?" "This is Lily Chen," she said, her voice steadier than she expected. "Mr. Winters asked me to call." "Oh, the pianist from last night. He's been waiting for your call. Please hold." 6 months passed like a whirlwind. Lily stood backstage at the Grand City Concert Hall, peeking through the curtain at the packed audience. People were still finding their seats, chatting excitedly. The program in their hands read, "An Evening with Lily Chen, from Restaurant to Recital Hall." "Nervous?" asked a familiar voice behind her. Lily turned to see Daniel Winters, dressed in a dark suit for the occasion. Terrified, she admitted with a small laugh. "I keep thinking I'll wake up back in my apartment, getting ready for my shift at Bellini's." "Not a chance," Daniel smiled. "This is real. You earned this." The past 6 months had been the most intense of Lily's life. After that phone call to Winterlight Studios, everything had changed. Daniel had invited her to come play at his studio to see what she could do in a professional setting with a proper piano and recording equipment. That first session had stretched from a planned 2 hours to nearly 5, as Lily played piece after piece from her repertoire. Some were rusty, others almost forgotten, but Daniel had been patient, encouraging her to take her time to reconnect with the music. "You have something special," he had told her afterward. "Not just skill, though you have plenty of that, but a way of making people feel the music. That can't be taught." They had started slowly. 3 days a week at the studio, working through pieces, recording, refining. Daniel had brought in a piano teacher, an older woman named Mrs. Wu who had once played with major symphonies, to help Lily rebuild her technique. Meanwhile, on weekend nights, she continued playing at Bellini's, which had transformed from a good neighborhood restaurant to a destination. People made reservations weeks in advance, specifically requesting piano nights. Mr. Chen had been more than fair, adjusting her schedule as her work with Daniel increased. Her mother had cried when Lily brought her to the restaurant for the first time to hear her play. "This is what you were always meant to do," she had said, holding Lily's hand tightly. "I'm so sorry you had to give it up for me." "I'm not," Lily had replied honestly. "Some paths are winding, but they still get you home." 3 months into their work together, Daniel had proposed something bold, a debut recital. Not just a small gathering at his studio, but a proper concert with ticket sales benefiting the hospital that had treated Lily's mother. "Are you sure I'm ready?" Lily had asked, doubt creeping into her voice. "More than ready," Daniel had assured her. "The videos from Bellini's have over 1 million views now. People want to hear you in person." The preparation had been grueling but wonderful. Hours of practice each day, refining a program that told her story through music. From classical pieces she had studied as a young student to jazz standards she had played at the restaurant, culminating in original compositions that Daniel had encouraged her to create. Now here she was, minutes away from walking onto a real stage. Through the curtain, she spotted familiar faces in the front rows, Mr. Chen and the entire staff from Bellini's, her mother and their neighbors, Mrs. Wu beaming proudly, and even some regular customers who had become friends over the months. 5 minutes, Ms. Chen, the stage manager, said politely. Lily nodded, taking deep breaths. On a small table nearby sat a framed photograph. Lily at age 7, sitting at her first piano recital, small fingers poised confidently above the keys. Beside it was a handwritten card from her mother. "The journey continues. So proud of you." "I have something for you," Daniel said, pulling a small envelope from his pocket. "I was going to wait until after the concert, but I think you should have it now." Lily opened it curiously. Inside was a letter on official letterhead from Westbrook Conservatory, the school she had once dreamed of attending. "They're offering you a special position," Daniel explained. "Teaching twice a week while completing your own studies." They saw the videos, heard the recordings we made. This is unusual for them, but they recognize extraordinary talent when they see it. Lily's hands trembled as she read the letter. "Is this really happening?" "You made it happen," Daniel said simply. That night at Bellini's was just the beginning. 2 minutes, Ms. Chen, the stage manager, called. Daniel squeezed her shoulder encouragingly and stepped back. "I'll be right here if you need anything." Alone for a moment, Lily closed her eyes. She thought about the long journey, the years of childhood practice, the competitions, the heartbreak of giving it all up, the quiet years of serving pasta and taking orders, and then that one magical night when everything changed because she found the courage to say, "I can play." When she opened her eyes, she felt calm. Whatever happened tonight, she had already won. She had found her way back to music, and music had found its way back to her. "Miss Chen, we're ready for you," the stage manager said, holding the curtain. Lily straightened her concert dress, a simple, elegant blue that reminded her of her waitress uniform, but infinitely more suited to this new chapter of her life. She walked onto the stage with confident steps, the spotlight finding her as she moved toward the gleaming grand piano at center stage. The applause was thunderous, but Lily barely heard it. She was already focused on the keys, on the music waiting to be brought to life. As she sat down and adjusted the bench, she caught sight of her mother in the front row, eyes shining with tears of joy. Lily smiled, placed her fingers on the keys, and began to play.